Hello and welcome to another episode of Frugal Finance. So we're going to have just a quick recap of the buy-to-let property in Peacehaven in East Sussex that we touched on some other videos and recently refurbished. So if you do like the video, please do smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, comment below, let me know your buy-to-let journey or anything that you're doing at the moment to do with property or investing. And with that said, please do smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, you'll get notified of any new videos I upload. Please do feel free to watch the video all the way to the end, comment, that really does help push the video out to a new audience, help share it. I know there are a lot of videos on the internet about this sort of thing, but this is my journey. Hopefully I'm a pretty average guy and you quite like the entertainment that I give you. So with that said, let's get stuck in. So as you know, we had the property for about 4 years and the tenant had pretty much moved in straight away, and recently they had moved out. So that initially gave us very little chance to actually do any work to it whatsoever. And the issue with that was that realistically the property was kind of midway through its cycle of its life. Kitchen was okay, poorly designed, bit worn out. Decorative wise, it was more to the previous owner's taste, which is not very neutral for letting, that sort of thing. But they were willing to move in straight away as is. So we whipped round, did all the electrics, all the gas safety, all that kind of minimum stuff that you need to do really to comply. And then over the time that we were there, we did some alterations. They've since moved out, we've got a new tenant in now. So within the space of really a month, so they ended at the end of August, and then this Monday, which was the 20th, the new tenant moved in. In that period, we completely gutted the place. It's had new carpets, a new kitchen, it's going to have a new window installed, new patio door. We're just waiting for those because there's some material delays at the moment. Fully redecorated throughout, all gloss work, everything the lot. So, you know, full refurbishment, probably excluding the bathroom, which was kind of partly done whilst the previous tenant was there, although there were some alterations made to the bathroom and some decorations and things like that. And in a general sense, you know, a shed load of rubbish removal, all that kind of things, and moving bits of the boiler about to make the kitchen work better. New tenants moved in, happy as Larry, doesn't even recognise it from when they initially viewed it, so that's, you know, win-win tick from that, from the kind of refurbishment joy factor, if you like. But realistically, you know, we probably could have rented the property as it was, truth be known, because the rental market is quite hot, but we chose to do that because it's redo that up because it gives the tenant a feeling of it's good quality, it's nice, they're going to take care of it hopefully. And you know, and I always run the system of if I wouldn't be prepared to live there, why would I expect somebody else to? And the kitchen was poorly designed and laid out and really come to the end of its useful life, probably now best part of 10 to 15 years old. So that's why we did that. And you'll see on the previous videos on how I personally use companies like B&Q and so on to actually keep down the cost. So providing the builder things, assembling the cabinets myself, putting the time in to keep their kind of material costs down, because all tradesmen are going to put profit onto their materials. That's how they work. But if you provide the materials to them, then obviously they're less likely to put any profit onto that. So you're really just paying labour rates, and that's going to keep the cost down. Plus, even if they do maybe hike their labour rates up a little bit to offset some of the loss in materials, profit on the materials that it might make. Got to remember that with places like B&Q, they do trade card and things like that. So please do check out the last video I did about a little short on B&Q and the offers that they had on. But there's also Wickes and Homebase and Home Depot, all these kind of, you know, big, what I call retail DIY stores, not your Howdens in the UK. I don't know what they have in America, but more bespoke places where perhaps tradesmen would go. So I utilise that. So what have we got at the end? Well, we've got a property that we purchased for 175 and is now recently been revalued prior to all of these works being done, just because the way the mortgages worked, at 195. So it's a 20 grand increase on the property without all the kitchen being done. So let's say that might have tipped it over to the sort of 205 mark maybe. So we're looking at about a 30 grand increase over a 4-year period with an investment down in terms of this recent kitchen of around about £5,000. So £25,000 return on investment on the equity that has been put in there, let alone the fact the tenant's been paying rent all this time. So you can see that's not a massive amount. You couldn't really recycle that particular amount of money and use it on another particular build, but this is borderline what we call a turnkey property. So when we picked it up, it was kind of almost ready for someone to turn the key and move straight in. So we actually got a normal mortgage on it, completed pretty straightforward. And obviously the tenant had been in there ever since, really, up until recently. So hopefully that gives you a kind of nice little update on that particular project. Really enjoyed doing it. There's been some lessons learned about really pushing contractors along timescales and the rest of it, and obviously, you know, having to help them manage their own workload as much, which is something that's quite difficult if, say, you invest in Liverpool or something like that. So Justin Wilkins, who you'll see if you search them, he does a similar sort of property journey, and his portfolio is in Liverpool, and obviously his refurbishment timescales are a lot longer, and that I attribute to the fact that he's not always there, and it is harder to manage contractors from a remote point of view. Obviously these guys are guys I work with regularly. I see them all the time down the pub, at other sites, all that kind of stuff. So, you know, they're keen as mustard to crack on and please me, because they know they won't get further work out of me at a later date. You know, but it is important to help them and be kind to them and understand what they're going through in order to get these things pushed along quickly. For example, the electrician had a timescale. He ended up actually staying late. I mean, I'm sure he probably took the morning off the next day, but all hats off to him. He worked late that evening up to probably about 7 o'clock, which I know that might not be late to me, but that's quite late to a contractor, and normally used to finishing about 4 o'clock. But to be fair to him, I jumped on the tools and assisted him with a few of the fascia plates and sockets and things, and cutting down some of the screws where they were too long. So I feel like that's a nice thing to do. I've given back a bit of my time. Obviously, I'm in a fortunate position to do that, but at the end of the day, that's a nice thing to do, and demonstrates that you do have an understanding of their pain. Ultimately, they don't benefit out of this. They get paid and they go home. They're not incentivized, other than future workflow, to particularly push things forward. So thought that was good. So you can see how we've made a little bit of profit on it. We've chosen not to release that equity and leave it in there, just so it gives us a bit of fluctuation, and it's also nice for your overall portfolio not to always be kind of 75-25% balanced. And it's you know, all in all, it's a pretty good little solid investment, or more of a turnkey. Maybe not quite what we always look for, but bear in mind we do own in this building already as a collective, family and friends and the rest of it. So yeah, it's quite a you know, a nice little property there. So anyway, if you do like the video, please do subscribe, hit the like button. Hopefully you've watched this all the way to the end and you like this. I'll try and put some cutaways through just to make it a bit more interesting than me doing this. And watch out soon, because we've just picked up the keys for the next dilapidated, unloved property, which we're gonna sprinkle some magic fairy dust on. So watch out for that soon. See you next time.